Hello and welcome to VR Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing S.H.Figuarts Android 16. So yes, finally I have Android 16. I'm sorry it took so long to get him, but shipping delays will just murder on him. I think that was a fairly widespread problem due to port delays and stuff. Either way, he is really cool. He has a few issues, but for the most part, he is definitely worth picking up. And so far, probably one of my favorite things that I have picked up this year. So, yeah, let's go ahead and zoom into the articulation, scope, details, all of those sorts of things. Alright, starting off with a quick size comparison. Of course, here we have 16. I've actually got his legs popped up a little bit, so he is at maximum height right now. If you lower them back down, he drops by a centimeter or two. I don't know. I'm not really good with measurement, but he gets slightly shorter. Here is Android 17. Here is Goku, and here is Cell. The height thing is the main issue that I think most people have with 16, because 16 is supposed to be really tall. He's supposed to be noticeably, significantly noticeably taller than Cell, and he is taller than Cell, but not by a lot. Of course, he is a good bit taller than 17, which is good. And he's really not that much taller than Goku either. So, I don't know, there's not really a lot of accuracy in size throughout the whole DBZ line, honestly, because Cell should be taller than he is, too. But you know, I mean, it works in that he is at least taller than the people he's supposed to be taller than, even if he's not as tall as he should be. So, whatever, that's the main complaint. Now let's get everything else out of here and just look at Android 16. Alright, moving on to our 360 spin, here you can see Android 16. He is mostly composed of green and a sort of blackish, it's not quite full black, but it's like a dark, mattish black color for his undersuit. The green looks really nice. It's very shiny, which makes sense because it's armor. It's also like my favorite shade of green, which is not really relevant, but it's just a little extra thing that I can say. He has the Red Ribbon Army logo there on his chest. That gets replaced by a Capsule Corp logo for a little while, but that's not reflected by this figure. His boot tips are black, and other than that, there's not really a lot of color variation or anything like that, just sort of green and black. His muscle detail is really nice on the arms and legs, so there's nothing really there to complain about. Now, let's go ahead and zoom in on his head sculpts. Android 16 has 3 normal heads. He has a sort of standard stern expression, a slight smirk, and an angry yelling expression. You can just interchange those heads, and then you can use the hairpiece on whichever one you're using at the time, unless you want him to be bald and have a big hole in the top of his head. And then he also has a separate damaged head, which is kind of cool. You can either put that on him, or you can lay it on the ground in front of Gohan or whatever, because that did kind of happen. It's got some nice detail for the brain stuff, and the face is all anguished and stuff like that. So that's very cool. It's not exactly an exorbitant amount of heads or faces or whatever, but I think it's enough, and Android 16's emotions do not vary a whole lot, so it's not that big of a deal. Now let's go ahead and zoom out and look at some articulation. Articulation-wise, Android 16 is pretty standard fare. You get the ball disc in the neck, so that goes up and down, rotates, and then of course he also has the neck joint below that. These little shoulder things move around on ball pegs. I'm not really sure why, because they don't get in the way or anything whenever they're just in their normal position, so I don't really see the point in that. But whatever, I guess it's useful to a certain extent. If you want to put his arms all the way up in the air, they might get in the way slightly. Ball joint shoulder, that goes in and out, forward and back, up and down, and moves around inside the little socket there. Bicep cut, double joint elbow. He actually gets a forearm cut because of the fact that his forearms are detachable for his little blastery thing. And then once you pop that back on, you get the wrist hinge and rotation, which is nice. He's got a really nice diaphragm joint that goes all the way back, forward, moves around. He also has the same thing in the waist below that. Each one of his little armor pieces here have hinges and they move up and down. Hips drop down, forward and back, in and out. Rotate around on the little joint there. Double joint knees. Then he has foot, hinge, pivot, rotation, all that stuff. And a little toe joint there. So that is pretty much, like I said, everything you really need from Figuarts. You can get him into any real poses you need to, with the exception that I can't really get his arms to move in forward enough to hold on to his wrist for the rocket punch kind of thing. But everything else I've tried to do has been fine. Android 16 does come with a few extra pieces, so let's go ahead and look at those. Accessories wise, 16 is actually surprisingly lazy. He only has 2 sets of hands. I can't really think of anything specific they could have given him other than maybe some relaxed hands, but still, I mean, that's a very small amount compared to how many we normally get from Figuarts. So he has 2 open grasping hands and 2 fists. So that's it. I mean, that's a reasonable amount. I mean, he can do most things that he does with those, but still, it just seems kind of meh, especially since he's a higher priced figure. Either way, that wraps it up for 16 and all of his accessories. Let's move on to the packaging. Packaging-wise, 16 comes in a fairly standard Figuarts box. It is green and black, which is cool. S.H.Figuarts, Android 16. Picture of the figure there. Tamashii Nations, Bandai logo, Dragon Ball Z logo, all that kind of stuff. And a choking hazard here, because a common American issue is to choke on Android 16. On the back, you get some pictures of the figures, as well as Android 16's signature catchphrase, VN. A little bit of descriptions and some stuff in Japanese at the bottom that I can't read. As always, these are good for in or out of package display. So yeah, Android 16. Alright, that wraps it up for Android 16. So until next time, goodbye! Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.